welcome to the stage, Mike Zakarian.
Good morning. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I don't know what happened to StreamYard. Our StreamYard stuff is a little funky again. Let's get rid of we don't need to show the display names. For podcast people, that was garbage. You didn't need that. Welcome back. NBA Bits here. On our new schedule, too. I think we're gonna do it might be Monday, Friday this week, maybe Monday, Thursday, Friday. I don't know. Definitely no show tomorrow. Just because we're slowly easing into the off season. We got a fun one today, though. This is what we're going to be doing, all right? We're going to be going over Saturday's game. We're going to do a little finals preview. And then we're just going to mess around on the trade machine for just a long time. We're just going to have a fun time with the trade machine. But more importantly, the button's too high this morning. Let's show there's no chest hair, let's be honest. Let's check in, though, with the chat. Who do we got here? We got Happy National Rotisserie Chicken Day. That's a fun one, Snoop. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Common Man. Stone Cold in the house. Stone Cold, you are in this sweet spot right now. A sweet spot of like when your team wins, you just want to consume all of the content. You could listen to two jerks talk about it, and it doesn't matter. You're just happy because your team won, which is very exciting. Also, this is hilarious. Yeah, no, come on. You gotta put no dunks up there. Let's be honest. Boston Base is in here. We got Botavine. Let's go. Stubbs is here. Love to see it. This is what I'm going to start with, though, and maybe people will hate this, but before we get into the game, I have detected maybe the worst fan, I think. I figured it out. It's been an interesting run here for me in New York and not having a rooting interest where I feel like I've just been able to step back and observe people losing their mind, which has been great, which has been really fun. But what I've witnessed, there's a specific thing that has happened recently, and I noticed it a couple of times. I went to a friend's birthday in like conversations over the weekend, and I've identified maybe the worst fan. So there's diehards, right? People who've been following all along, right? From start to finish, from off season to preseason. They're logging Tyler Kolek G League minutes, right? They're just locked in the whole time. Then there's people who are just, casual. They'll check some box scores from here and there. Maybe if it's a big game, they'll tune in. That's fine. Maybe they're just regular season watchers. That's fine. Then there's another crew that just jumps on for the bandwagon when we get to the playoffs. And you know what? That's fine too. If you just want to be a part of a movement, of a moment, of an eventized game, I think that's fine too. But here is the worst fan. The casual that then gets upset at the bandwagon people. And I have no time for that, I don't think. I don't think we should be poo-pooing people's fandom. I don't think we should. I think you should be able to do it however you want. The only thing you can't do is then just shun the people, especially if you're not one of the sickos. And I saw a lot of that. You'd be like, oh, you're only paying attention because it's the playoffs. You don't really care like I care. And I just want to be like, tell me who Landry Shamet is, And that's I witnessed too much of it. I don't like it. I think that's the worst one. Let people just have fun. So you're in the playoffs. The more the merrier. It's just like Top Shot. We need more people, Anyways, that I noticed that this weekend, and I did not like it. I don't like people feeling. Don't shame people for what they're enjoying. Let them enjoy the ride. Maybe they have such a good time that then they start watching the regular season. And then we could be like, oh, look at the ratings. The ratings are up. Anyways, I don't even know if that was a good rant. It was just something that I noticed, and I really did not like it over the weekend. I was like, come on, guys. Let him in. Let's sit through Kiefer Sky's Pacers game, then come at me. All right, there you go. John Dubb. I love John Dubb, man. John Dubb, we didn't see him all year long unless a big Pacers win happens, but I respect it. You come back. Let's give the Pacers some love, huh? They get the W. They're moving on to the NBA Finals, baby. And that was fun as hell. That was just a fun game. It was close for as long as it needed to be close. And then you just saw the Indy, the switch flip. I was watching it with my wife. I was watching it with my wife on Saturday, and it was so cool to see someone who, again, she is a basketball fan, but maybe not watching every single game, just could be like, hey, seems like the Pacers are just trying harder. And that is what it felt like. That third quarter, it seemed like they had 6 guys on the court. They were just flying all over the place on offense, on defense. And like, yes, we can make fun of the Knicks for their inability to get back, which is kind of crazy. That did feel like, it almost felt like a YMCA game where they're cherry picking. Like, how is that dude open the whole time? At no point is anybody running back. I don't know if it's because like the shooter was the furthest one away every time. And so like the shooter's just like watching the shot, but somebody's got to sprint back, right? Somebody's going to sprint back and get that guy. It was really wild to watch it. But anyways, let's pull up the box score and let's just give Siakam and Haliburton some love. Also, you know what's here's another annoying thing, guys. I think it's fine that Haliburton thought he was going to win the MVP and then didn't. You know, I think that was fine. I don't think we should be like, oh, look at that idiot. Who cares? He was awesome. Both of those guys were awesome. I think it just speaks to who the Pacers are, you know, that they have like a clear 1-2 punch. Those are their 2 best guys. Siakam put up 30 points 3 different times in the finals, right? I mean, in the Eastern Conference Finals. Haliburton had one of the best offensive performances we've ever seen. I just don't go down the same route of the Tatum Brown thing. I just don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to be analyzing videos. Is Haliburton actually happy for his teammates? Like, who cares? Shut up. Yeah, and that wet 3 from Hal, the logo het 3 was amazing. That was a fun one. Boston Bay says, I love how you were bashing Celtics for not having celebs courtside. Meanwhile, New York City celebs are jokes. What do you mean? Why are they jokes? Why are the New York City celebs jokes? Was that supposed to be, you supposed to say Indy celebs? I thought guys, I think that's great. I think Chalamet, Stiller, all of them traveling. I thought that's fun. That's a good fan. That's a good fan. A little too much Kylie Jenner talk for me, if we're being honest. All right, let's do it. 125-108 is the final score for the Pacers. Let's look at some of these numbers, man. Look at Siakam, a plus 25 out there. Finishes with 31-5. How about the stock numbers here? The real story, though, man, Andrew Nembhard, that was some annoying-ass defense. Do they give out game balls? They should give out game balls. We gave out a game ball at softball this weekend. Guy hit a grand slam. Also, we tied. Isn't that some bullshit? We tied in softball. Because it was just so dumb. They have this, we were down big, had a 7-run rally, and that's the mercy rule for an inning, even though we were down. And so the final score was 11-11. Isn't that dumb? Anyways, they should have given Nembhard a game ball. He was incredible. He was just all over the place. It looked like he did a line of coke before it's just like all over the place, man. Was a dog from start to finish. And I think what was so cool about it is my podcast, myself included, but like every single show that you listen to the last like 2 weeks, we're going to be like, they really don't have an answer for Jalen Brunson. Like, especially if Neesmith's ankle is bummed, you can't. Nembhard has not, for 2 consecutive postseasons, Andrew Nembhard cannot defend Jalen Brunson, which was true. Brunson was cooking him. And then I don't know what got into Nembhard. I don't know what switch flipped. And honestly, maybe we had talked about it early. Like, I think the longer this series went, the more problematic it was going to be for the New York Knicks because of the style of play the Pacers play. And I just think they wear you down. They wear you down. And you saw it both on the offensive end and in the defensive end. They were picking them up full court. We saw Brunson. Also, Brunson headbutted a guy. Brunson headbutted Nembhard, and that was just fine. We saw 2 nut shots and a headbutt in the same game and not one technical foul. I don't listen to the Draymond Green podcast, but I promise you he's got something to say about that. He's like, really? Oh, really? I gave LeBron what some would call a happy ending in the finals, and I couldn't play another game. And then Karl Anthony Towns and OG are doing Mortal Kombat moves to people's testicles going up for layups. Couldn't believe it. Also, that challenge by Jim Carrey the first bad move he's made this postseason? Because I thought that he's usually been so good with those challenges, and I thought that was he seemed to have that was like the first time. DJP, what's up in the chat? He says, "Did you see the Raptors Giannis interest? Don't you worry, we're gonna do some trade machine stuff a little bit later." I also saw Windhorse mention Boston with Giannis, which I thought was surprising. I think he was just trying to do that. But anyways, yeah, I thought that was like maybe the first mistake that Rick Carlisle made this entire postseason. Just save the challenges, man. You shouldn't be I think you should be publicly humiliated if you use a challenge in the first half. I think you should. Although that might have been the second half. I don't remember, but just a general rule. Anyways, Haliburton 21 and 13 in this game. had 4 turnovers, which feels like 400 for him, right? I saw Nate Duncan tweeted out something where Haliburton went 80 consecutive playoff minutes without turning the ball over. That's nuts. But then in game 6, I think he turned it over 3 times in the first quarter. But he was great too, man. How about that block? I don't know how many people remember this, but there was, I think OG in the corner was trying to launch up a 3, and Haliburton, I was just like, oh, I forgot you had those go gadget arms, baby. Just like shot those things up there. He had a block. That was a pretty big play for him. You got Neesmith with 10, Miles Turner had 11, but how about Obi Toppin? Which, by the way, if you were in the betting DMs, I had two big bets for people, because I actually didn't place them, but people were asking me my big bets for game 6, and it was Obi Toppin over 10.5 points and rebounds. And dude, he crushed that. 18.6 boards, not even close. And then Siakam over 21 points. And those Obi cashed in the first half, and Siakam cashed in the third quarter, I think. It was good. All right, instead of calling him Jim Carrey, you should call him Stanley Ipkiss. All right. Save your feedback for Yelp, you know? But anyway, and then Thomas Bryant, dude. Thomas Bryant knocking down 3 threes. He was great in this game. We saw some Jarris Walker minutes for a little bit, and then I hope that he got hurt, right? Which looked tough. And hopefully he's okay. I actually never saw an update on that after he had limped up. But yeah, that's right. More financial advice. Let's do a financial advice drop. We haven't done that in so long because we've been slowing down the betting. But as always, this is not financial advice.
None of this is financial advice. Do what you love what you do. Something like that, right?
All right, we're back, baby. Yeah, just really good stuff there from the Pacers from start to finish. And I mean, that third quarter was the one that blew it open, right? They had a 4-point lead going into halftime and then outscored them by 9 in the third quarter. And it was such a weird start to the third quarter, right? They immediately go out on a 9-0 run. Tibbs calls timeout, and then the Knicks storm back with their own run, and then the Pacers just cruise after that. But it was just a really impressive performance by them. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think they have a shot in hell against OKC, but I also don't think that should be a deterrent of celebrating this run. This has been really cool. And to see it happen, I think back to when we're still doing the content around the Haliburton, Haliburton Sabonis trade, excuse me. And how there was well, this is actually a good deal for both teams, right? And you just kind of think back on it and you're like, man, it wasn't. It wasn't. Haliburton, a fun run from him. Siakam, just an incredible performance throughout the Eastern Conference Finals. And then just the defense, man. The defense has been awesome. Holding I know it's 108. Is still, 108, but a lot of that was Landry Shamet knocking down triples in garbage time. But congrats to the Pacers, man. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for their fans. I think it's going to be a really fun. I could see OKC winning this in 5 and every single game being relatively close. I could see the Pacers hanging with them a little bit. I joked on, I think, a show last week where the OKC Thunder are like the Pacers just with some compound V from the boys, right? It's just like a souped up version of the Pacers, this style of play. But I think it's going to be fun. I mean, you got Tyrese Haliburton, who is one of the best true point guards, who controls pace, doesn't turn the ball over, versus a team that is the best turning over team. Is that how you say it? A really good defensive team, I guess is what I'm trying to say, in the OKC Thunder. So I think it's going to be fun. We'll have time to talk about that a little bit more. But what a fun series, man. For it to, it goes 6 games, and they were all pretty entertaining. We had some epic comebacks. It was kind of funny though. And again, this is my Celtics fandom creeping in. It was really funny. Celtics fans were frustrated, right? Wow, we blew those 2 games against the Knicks. We're clearly a better team. It just did not execute down the stretch. And Knicks fans and everybody else would be like, well, if you're a better team, you would have won, which is true. But then you're seeing a lot of Knicks fans being like, man, if we just didn't choke away game 1, dude, we're right back in that. So it's funny to hear everybody have the same exact conversation a little bit later. I think as we put to bed the New York Knicks season, I don't know. I think I think they could upgrade their coach. I don't think they should fire their coach, though. I don't think they should, but I understand some of the frustrations around it. I think for Tibbs to everybody was kind of lauding him for making the change there in the postseason after being down 0-2, being like, oh, we'll throw Mitchell Robinson in there and we'll put Josh Hart off the bench and let's play Landry Shamet. And yes, those were good moves, but it's almost like, why did you have to wait to get down 0-2 to make any sort of adjustments? And why don't maybe give those guys some run in the regular season so you actually know what you have, what levers you can pull in the postseason, and you didn't see any of that. And I'm not saying, I don't even know if Landry Shamet should have been getting as many minutes as he was, but you had no idea. And it seems so crazy that you're starting five that you put together that is supposed to be the starting, the world-beating starting five, and for them to be a -33. There was some really good breakdown. I actually thought that this reporting got bashed a little bit for The Athletic. Fred Katz and James Edwards III. Is it the third or the? Yeah, it's the third, right? I have a friend named James III, and now I'm nervous that it's not James Edward III. I could just look it up, but instead we'll keep pontificating and wondering. That was just kind of talking about the Knicks season and some of the, some of the good and some of the bad. And I think it was portrayed as it was, oh, the Knicks were in turmoil. It seemed pretty normal stuff. After bad losses, they were frustrated, and after wins, they felt good. And maybe it didn't click as much as it should have been, as we expected them to click. But I do think there's a lot of dialogue around continuity, and the Knicks did not yes, sure. Brunson and Hart were there last year. So was Mitch Robb, and they played with what's his name, with Mikal Bridges in college, right? But this was their first season together. OG Anunoby had only been there for a half a season, right? Because he was a trade deadline grab. All right, is that correct? And then Karl Anthony Towns was added to the roster 2 weeks before the season started. So even though, and I think there were some concerning numbers, right? Where out the gate, their offense was insane. It was a top 5 or top 6 in the league in October, November, December, and then January it started to take a step back, and then March and April it really they slammed the brakes, right? And so there is something to observe of that. I also saw a crazy stat, and I hope this is not incorrect. I think it was just the Eastern Conference Finals. Brunson only assisted Karl Anthony Towns buckets 5 times in the Eastern Conference Finals. That that to me seems there's a disconnect in communication or schematics with the coaching staff that. But to me, that's a fixable thing, unless they truly don't like each other, which that is not what I'm speculating. I just mean I don't know if you need to be oh my God, we got to change everything. They do have a decision to make with Mikal Bridges and his extension. And as Stan Loves in the chat, rare W for Stan, points out that Brunson took a $100 million pay cut for this. But I don't think you need to say RIP, because I do think their window is a little bit longer than that. I don't think this was their only shot. I do think it was a missed opportunity. I don't know how many other times and it's so funny too. Again, sorry, my Celtics fandom is freaking. That's not a Boston accent, but my Celtics fandom is creeping out again, because the Celtics win the title and they run through the East and they're oh, well, the East was bad. Everybody was hurt. It's a hospital title. Well, then the Knicks had an opportunity at their own hospital title and they didn't get to the finals. So maybe we should put some respect on hospital titles. But it does probably feel like a missed opportunity, right? Where you didn't have to deal with the Cavs, right? They played the Pistons, and then they beat the Celtics, defending champs. That is a real series W. You cannot point at the Tatum injury, because those Celtics were going to be down 3-1, even if Tatum was coming back for Game 6. They get through that. So those, and they made the conference finals for the first time in 20 plus years. So I don't think it's a panic move. I do think if somehow Giannis Antetokounmpo was on the table to come to Bing Bong culture, then yes, you explore some stuff. And there's been some Kevin Durant rumors. I don't even know if you need to do that. I don't know if you need to do that. You've got your core together. Maybe you can just work around the edges. I think they do benefit from a couple of things here. The Eastern Conference is, say it with me, dog shit. And so moving into next season, they are the bench. It's them, it's the Pacers, it's the Cavs, and then you're just I don't know, man. Does Philly stay off of injured reserve? Does Detroit add some pieces? Does Orlando get a guard that can hit a bucket? There's a lot of what ifs, right? And so if you are a vet, an aging vet who is just trying to get a little title run in him. And whoa, you want to come play in New York on it, right? Like that. I think that would be an attractive place to sign a cheaper deal. And honestly, I was listening to the Hoop Collective over the weekend, which was a really fun, that was a fun episode. I love that they fight when they agree. I think that's like a fun, the Hoop Collective is like the Bear if it was a podcast. It's just a lot of angst. It's a lot of angst in that show. And now I'm debating, do we go to the live show? I don't know. I think I can only go to one live podcast show in Summer League. I can't do multiple. So it depends. If Skeets is still in the chat, we getting a No Dunks live show? I'll go to that. Anyways, where was I going with that? Al Horford. Tim Bontemps and Windhorst dropped a little Al Horford. And I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but that was kind of what opened the door for me to be like, oh, yeah, I guess they could get some like cheaper vets that want a shot at a title, because that is probably, if the Knicks are running this back, a pretty safe bet for an Eastern Conference Finals run, right? Assuming Brunson, Bridges, Cat, and OG Anunoby. I mean, like the Josh Hart thing really did rear its ugly head, where it feels like you can get away with some of the Josh Hart stuff in the regular season, but in the postseason, when you're just like, they're putting centers on Josh Hart and they're like, dude, shoot the three if you want, bro. Shoot it if you want. And he did poorly. I thought they just some real rough misses. What was Josh Hart's numbers there in Game 6? He played, I didn't even say any of the Knicks numbers here from Game 6. Josh Hart played only 22 minutes, which is in Tom Thibodeau's. That's basically getting benched for the game. He went 1 for 6 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. Also dislocated his finger, but that was pretty much at the end of the game. But Brunson finished with 19 points, 7 assists, and 5 turnovers. Cat had 22 and 22 and 14, 24 from OG. I actually thought OG had a pretty good series. All right, we got looking like a No Dunks live free show on the Friday. Are we talking that same venue with that open space, which I thought was going to be a nightmare and then ended up being like a great spot for the show? I remember I was nervous for you guys. I was nervous because for those that have been, it's at the MGM Grand, which is where we're staying, by the way, July 10th and 14th, if you want to come hang out with us. It was just this big open space that usually has live music, but it honestly was a pretty good spot. I enjoyed it quite a bit. You're renting out the Sphere for your one-man show? Awesome, dude. But anyways, I think the Al Horford thing is kind of interesting. And it did open my eyes to be like, oh, maybe the Knicks are able to just like scoop up a couple of vets like that heading into the offseason. And again, we've gone over like the potential free agents. It's not a fun one. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of Brook Lopez. Because I wonder too, like Mitchell Robinson could find himself in a new home. Mitch Rob was awesome, huh? I don't think he should be playing like 25 minutes a game. He seems like he is really good. Honestly, not to compare myself to Mitchell Robinson, but that's how I play basketball, 4 minutes at a time. I am not a hockey person, but I should be playing sports in hockey shifts. Let me go out there, run like a psycho, and then get off. And that's kind of what Mitch Rob should be doing. Just a burst of energy to come out there, just grab a couple of offensive boards, make things difficult, because he and OG Anunoby were keeping them in the game. Let's see what his numbers were when all was said and done. Mitchell Robinson played 30 minutes, finished with 8 points and 9 boards, 5 of those offensive. I would say too, he really created 5 offensive rebounds. I would say he created another 6 like fake offensive rebounds, in the sense that he was battling for the ball and then it got tipped out by the Pacers and the Knicks retained possession. That happened so many times. And I thought he was great. But then the longer you kept him out there, he got you could just see he got winded, He got winded. But anyways, I hope the Knicks don't blow it up. I think they're the fans seem pretty happy. I mean, of course they're going to yell about Tibbs, but I think they really love that team. And I still think they were they're still going to compete, I don't think you need to freak out. I don't think you need to freak out. So congrats to the Bing Bong Boys that are run. Let's look at the NBA Finals schedule here. Let me pull that up. I wish we had a game before Thursday, but honestly, last night was kind of nice. Here you go. This is what I'll tell you what I did yesterday instead of watching basketball. You ready for this? This is a TV recommendation that I'm very excited about because I did not know this show existed. I haven't seen this promoted at all outside of Chris Ryan mentioning it in a throwaway. It's on Netflix, and it's called Department Q. and it's this like Scottish like crime mystery show starring Matthew Good. It's the same dude, Scott Frank, I think his name is, which it's tough to trust somebody with two first names, but I think he's the same dude who did Queen's Gambit, did Monsieur Spade. It's really good. It's really freaking good. I'm having a tough time not just like crushing it all. So Department Q on Netflix. I think it's 9 episodes. Most of them are around like 40 minutes to 45 minutes. Can't recommend it enough. Really, really good. That and Mobland. But Mobland's more like, that's just more like a drug. Tom Hardy. Just, somebody did a Tom Hardy impression the other day that I saw on social media that was really funny. But whatever, I can't remember it is. How about 2 last names? There you go, Zakarian Jones. Man, who is Zakarian Jones? Who is Zakarian Jones? Where was I going with that before I got sidetracked? Oh, let's schedule. So we Hoops picks up on Thursday here. So we've got game 1. Oh no, that's the prices. That's not what I was looking for. We've got game 1 on Thursday. I think we go Thursday, Sunday for our first 2 games. Thursday, Sunday, which should be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to the finals as we take a peek at OKC versus Indiana. And maybe the chat or the listeners after the fact are doing a better job coming to terms or like creating a narrative where the Pacers can get these W's. I just don't see it, man. I don't see it. I think we're going to reflect back on this OKC run in a couple of months and be like, wow, they were pretty dominant from start to finish. This has just been like a historically great team. And I think the only there were a couple of concerns people had, like, are they going to be able to show up in the postseason? Because it's a young team and they don't have that playoff experience, and you can't win without playoff experience, as everybody knows. And can Robin and Alfred, can J-Dub and Chet do their thing in the postseason? And I think they've both shown like they got over those little hiccups. They now have seen the ball go through the hoop. I mean, Jalen Williams was, arguably, no, he wasn't. Shea was the best player in that series, but I would say J-Dub was better than Ant, I think, in the second in the conference finals. Is that a crazy take? J-Dub was incredible in that round. And I just think they are better than them in every single position, right? I think Siakam could have some fun. I'm curious who gets the Siakam assignment. I'm assuming they put Nesmith on Shea just because Shea's a little bit longer than Brunson too. So I'm assuming Nesmith gets the Shea assignment. Do they throw Dort on Siakam? Is it just going to be, that is kind of, well, I guess no, that's not. I don't know why I was thinking Siakam was Canadian there for a second. I guess because he was on the Raptors, but Dort on Siakam could be kind of fun. Is it Chet on Siakam? I do think if they throw Chet on Siakam, Siakam could have a little bit of an advantage. But if the Pacers, is Indiana going to be able to impose their will, much like they did in a lot of their wins in New York, where they're just like, hey, from start to finish, we're going to be running as fast as we can. And if they're able to do that and get OKC to try to speed it up, then I do think they can hang with them a little bit. I still think OKC in 5. But the tough thing about OKC is like, man, no matter how you want to play, they have this guy who can just dribble and get to his spot in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he can go at whatever pace he wants. And whether you want him to play fast or not, he could just kind of slow it down. And he's like, here we go. I'm going to get to this spot, and I'm going to put up a little jumper. So I just don't see a world in which the Pacers, Tesla saying Siakam is too quick for Dort. And that's probably true. That is probably true. So who do they put on Dort? I mean, who do they put on Siakam? Is it Chet? Because I don't feel like Chet can. I mean, Chet's awesome defensively. I think Chet's like an underrated defender at this point, and an incredible rim protector. But I don't know. I mean, because if Siakam's going to shoot the 3-ball like that was the other thing. I was really impressed with Siakam's 3-ball shooting. Maybe I'm the casual because I did not know he had that wet jumper. And a 3 for 5 in Game 6 from 3. He just seems like it feels like it's going in. The confidence in that shot was awesome. Matty Harrison says it's going to be so many fast break points. Yeah, I do think if Indiana is able to control the pace and control the turnovers, I do think they can hang tight, and then we can see some close fourth quarter games. But to me, this feels like Thunder in 5 with a lot of fourth quarter W's. That is where I'm landing on this. That is where I'm kind of landing. We'll have more time to break down the finals. So let's get into some offseason drama. So the Giannis stuff is starting to pick up. I'm so fascinated. They have to be talking about Giannis, right? Because last week Shams gets on the Pat McAfee show and is like, this is going to be the most busiest, craziest offseason, or however he phrased it, of all time. And then Windhorse also put the fingers up and we're like, yeah, this is going to get weird. And it has to be Giannis, right? Because I'm trying to think of like what other big time moves could happen that would qualify for that. And I don't know if they're like Kevin Durant, obviously, but we know Kevin Durant's moving. We know KD's not going to be on Phoenix next year. And so for it to qualify as something like that. Now, again, maybe they're just trying to be like, make sure you still download every podcast and tune in to Get Up, where Mike Greenberg says some stuff that I don't agree with, right? Maybe it's stuff like that. But it does seem like there is a little bit of smoke behind that. So let's go over to Spotrac, because I know my Canadian brethren are rock hard right now. Rock hard to get Giannis Antetokounmpo to We the North, right? I know that's what's happening. So let's go over there. Actually, before we do that too, I'm just going to plug some stuff here, because we're at the half hour mark, okay? Here, so before we get into the trade machine, just a couple of things that are going on. We get a new episode of Hoop Sense today at 3 p.m. Eastern, so tune into that on the Count the Dings YouTube channel. 89 Cavs will be back sometime this week, hopefully Wednesday. Hopefully on Wednesday we'll have some Elite Fantasy Hoops sports stuff drop in here in a little bit, so go check that out. And then also, guys, I'm going to I know I'm not really plugging this a ton, but the Celtics Daily YouTube channel, which again, this is the most clickbaity shit. I don't design the thumbnails or titles, but I've learned that apparently this is what I should be doing, because 10 days ago, we were at, let's do a quick refresh because we haven't. 10 days ago, we were at 204. We were at 40 subs. We're now at 241. And look at these videos, man. These video numbers are high, 4.3K. Like we're finally starting to cook a little bit over there. So we might have made dick on the NBA bit, but there you go. There's some money coming in on the Celtics Daily channel. But yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be fun anyways. So go check that out if you haven't done it. I like how someone called you out in the comments for it being clickbait. I know. And listen, you can call, they can call me out, but I'm fine with it. I don't design it, and it seems to be working. So maybe the clickbait is a real thing. Maybe it works because they keep coming back. All right, let's go over to Spotrac. Let's try to find a home for Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Toronto Raptors. I don't really know what the Bucks asking price would be. Do you know what I mean? Like Giannis is such a great player, and Nico Harrison is such a dumb general manager that it's because like the last player to be traded at Giannis's caliber is Luka, right? And that trade package was not right. So like I don't even know what it would look like. So let's try to build this here. Let's build it together. We're all in this together. All right, Bucks and Raptors. Let's do it. Let's see if we can do it without including a third team. Specifically the Brooklyn Nets. So Giannis here, that's 48 milli. Let's send it over to Toronto. All right. Now, what would the Raptors have to send back besides a bunch of picks, right? So we need to get to 40 some odd million, right? I am like, dude, God, who do you include in that? Who do you include in that? Would it have to be Scotty Barnes? Scotty Barnes at 10 million? Trade fails here. Trade fails. Got to be more than Scotty. We need 37 more million. But they probably don't want Ingram, right? Especially because he had just been extended. You want like that 30 million that doesn't have as much money in there. But what about you throw RJ in there? Would they want Scotty and RJ? And then you need to still get to 12 more million, right? So Scotty, RJ, Chris Boucher expiring. Although I think I have to be in the 25 year, right? Hold on. Let's reset this. I think I have to be in the 25, 26 year, not 24, 25. I think that's right. So let's try that again. So let's do Bucks and Raptors. Sorry, guys. Let's start it again. Start the trade again. All right, let's do this again here. So now Giannis is at 54 million. So that just made things a little bit harder. Also, if I'm doing this incorrectly in the chat and then it should be 24, 25, please let me know. But I'm pretty sure it's 25, 26. All right, so let's throw, if you're saying Scotty needs to be in there, now that's 38 million. That's a little bit closer. So we need to make up 15 more million. Let's throw RJ in there because now they're getting like two younger guys. So this would, under these contracts would work. these contracts would work. Now, obviously, Milwaukee's not accepting that. They're going to want some draft picks, right? And they probably don't want them to be early, right? Because you're like you assume this team is going to be good. So I think it's probably going to need to be the 2031 first. You can't do. You can do the 2030 swap, and then maybe a 2028 first, right? So would you? It's still that's still not enough, right? You probably have to. Could they include the 9th overall pick too? What about that? What about that? So you get Scotty, RJ, 2025 first, which is pick number 9, 2030 pick swap, and then 2031 first. It's like, this is what I mean. I don't even know. Is Milwaukee doing this? Like, is that? I mean, I could see if Giannis was like, hey, I would really like to go to Toronto. Now, what does that leave Toronto left with the roster? So they lose Scotty and RJ. They'd have Giannis, Brandon Ingram, Emmanuel Quickly, Jakob Pertl, Agbaji, Grady, big old dick, Jacoby Walter. Maybe we could throw Jacoby Walter in that too. I wonder if they'd want like another younger guy. Because like, how competitive does this make oh yeah, of course the Raptors fans are actually like, oh, this is actually a pretty good deal. How competitive does this make Toronto though? Like, just think about how jammed up that would be. Brandon Ingram, Emmanuel Quickly, Jakob Pertl, Giannis. Like, who do you have? I think the Jakob Giannis thing would actually work okay. But man, you just are so desperate for shooting. So does Gary Trent Jr. come home? Can we do this with? Well, they probably want RJ, right? But what if we do it without RJ? Let's remove RJ. Let's throw. It's too bad you got Brandon Ingram. I don't think they want Brandon Ingram. But can you? No, you probably got to include RJ, huh? Because I mean, you could do Emmanuel Quickly, although that trade fails because we're over. I don't know. Well, yeah, I guess we keep it with RJ. Where else could you send him in the East, though? New York City teams, Miami. That's it, right? Yeah, New York City. Let's do. I mean, you're right. That's if he wants to stay in the East. Let's quickly look at San Antonio, though. Let's do a San Antonio Spurs one. And just mess around with it. Just mess around with it. All right, so let's send Giannis over to San Antonio. To San Antonio. Send him to San Antonio, and then we can do some more East ones. Wait, why is this not working? Let's reset it. All right, there we go. Let's send him to San Antonio, and then let's send the Spurs over. So, oh wait, I did the same freaking thing. Sorry, guys. We got to go to 25-26 operating year. Let's do the Milwaukee Bucks and the San Antonio Spurs. We'll do a 2-team trade. Try not to do a 3-team trade. Let's see. This is why when we build this is why I think unless the Bucks are just doing a favor to Giannis, which they could very well do, right? They have a great relationship. I just like the offers they can get back from the Spurs are way higher. All right, so we need to get to $50 million, right? So they're obviously going to keep Fox. They're going so let's throw Devin Vassell in there. Even though I love Devin Vassell, let's throw him in there. We can throw an expiring of Harrison Barnes. And then so that's successful. So Vassell and Harrison Barnes would just get it done. Now you can now start giving them some picks, right? If you give them this number 2 overall, you could give them both. You could give them the 14 as well. You give them both first round picks here. Now this is where it's spicy though, right? You have Atlanta's 27. They could use, right? You have Boston's 2028 first round pick, which like who knows what Boston looks like. You probably don't want the immediate Spurs one, but 2026 Chicago pick is a little bit protected. You could do that. You've got Dallas's 2030, which I think is pretty freaking spicy, man. Pretty spicy. You could throw that over there. So that right there, that's 3. That's like 4 first round picks, 2 from this season, a 2027 and a 2030, and then you have Vassell and Harrison Barnes. Now, maybe they're like, hey, listen, if we're doing this, we need Stephon Castle too, and you could throw Castle in there and it doesn't work, but then maybe you remove Harrison Barnes. Let's see what that does. So then this trade currently fails. Why? What are we off here? You've exceeded the available income by $8 million. So that's still $8 million off. I still think they could figure it out. They could figure it out by throwing in some of the they probably don't want to move Castle and Sohan. But you could, let's see if you remove Vassell. No, you're not going to do De'Aaron. But we're ready. You could do this here. You could do Harrison Barnes expiring and then Keldon Johnson. Does that get you there? Yeah. So then you could do Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson, and Castle with all of those picks. I think the Spurs would try their best not to include Castle, but like that's four first rounders. And I really do think like the Atlanta and so the number 2 pick overall this year, obviously that's great. Plus the Atlanta and Dallas picks, I think, are just super, super valuable. Tesla said, I just think going to the West is not in the cards, especially with the runway waltz to the finals in the Eastern Conference. Well, let me ask you this, Tesla. Who has a better chance of making the conference finals? Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, or Brandon Ingram, Giannis, and Emmanuel Quickley? I think I would take my chances with Wemby, Giannis, and Fox in the West than I would with Giannis, Ingram, and Emmanuel Quickley. You know, I just think I would. I think the Spurs have a better shot at being a competitive team. And that's not to say the Raptors would be bad. I think with that roster of, you have no spacing on that team of Toronto. I think with that Toronto roster, you're looking at like a 4 seed maybe. I still think the Knicks would have a more complete team. I still think the Pacers would be up there, and I still think the Cavs would still be ahead of them. After that, I think that's about it, right? So anyways, I think that deal is the most enticing. Let's go back to let's select some new teams again. Let's stay in the 25-26 operating, and let's stay in the Eastern Conference then. Let's stay in the Eastern Conference, and let's include Milwaukee, and then so we've done Toronto. Let's look at Miami. I don't think Miami's going to work, if we're being honest, guys. I just don't think they have, like, why would they do it? Why would they do it? You know what I'm saying? Like that, like who are you including to make these salaries work? So let's send Giannis over there. That's $54 million, right? So now Miami would have to send, I don't know, Andrew Wiggins makes 28, Terry Rozier, an expiring contract. That's for sure going in there. I don't know, maybe Wiggins and, okay, so that actually works here. If it's Wiggins and Rozier, and they like, what young players do they include? Do they give them like Khalil Ware? Give them Khalil Ware in there? Ware in there? Does that work? Oh, did it not? Let's see if that works still. Why is it not? Oh, yeah, that still works. So then they at least get a young piece, right? And then do they have any spice? So they only have their picks. So, I mean, I guess like you could give them pick number 20 this year, but like then you probably don't want 20, 27 or 26, right? So you probably want 29 and then maybe 31 and then probably a pick swap there, right? Is that would you do something like that? But again, like, well, I don't think I love that package that much. Like this is what I'm saying. Like the Bucks should just keep Giannis unless Giannis is like, get me the hell out of here. And then if he is like, get me the hell out of here, you're going to San Antonio, man. As long as San Antonio wants to do it. Let's do another one here. Let's do the Knicks. Let's see if the Bucks like really try to blow it up here with the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks try to really blow it up. Let's see what they could do. And like Brooklyn has like a good package. Again, I just don't know. Wow, it's getting real choppy on my feed over here. I just don't know the world in which they're doing it for this kind of stuff. All right, so we're sending. Oh, I did it again. Is this not Spotrack? Come on, bro. I'm always doing 25-26 from here on out. Let's go. Let's try this again. Bucks and Knicks, and let's start this trade. All right, so Giannis goes over $54 million. Oh, my God. There we go. And let's go to the Knicks here. So, I mean, oh, wow. Giannis just straight up for Cat. What if they did Cat and then included... Now, this is if they were going to try to be good right now. So they'd have to throw in another... How much is that off by? $23 million. What, do the Bucks have any other, like, guard? Ooh, Kyle Kuzma. The Kuz. And now you have to give up some other. So it'd be Cat and Bridges for Giannis and Kuzma. All right, let's get to throw in some picks here. 2026, probably not good. 2030 first and a 2028 first. How about that? Cat, Bridges for Giannis, Kuz, and 2 firsts. I don't know. What do we think? What do we think there? Could that work? Probably not, right? So Giannis and Kuzma goes to New York for Cat and Bridges, plus a couple of first-round picks. That leaves the Knicks, right? So the Knicks starting 5, you'd have Giannis. Josh Hart's still there. OG Anunoby's still there, and Brunson's still there. You'd probably still need some 3-point shooting, though, right? You were just out of 3-point shooting. Imagine being a Heat fan and think you have a shot at Giannis when you off Wiggins. Well, right, but they're in that scenario, the Rozier contract falls off, right? That's an expiring deal. That falls off right away. So you're not really worried about that one. That's just to save you some money. And then you're getting some picks. I mean, do you really think they won't do right by Giannis? Wouldn't it be very Midwest of them? I mean, I don't know. Maybe, but I don't think they're trying to nuke their own franchise just to make Giannis happy on the way out. Like, they still have to get something back. And I mean, Scotty Barnes is a nice piece. It's just too bad Scotty Barnes is like not really progressed. And I guess it's hard to like really evaluate what the Raptors are because they've had no continuity or consistency in any of their like rosters, right? There's just so many injuries in and out. Bucks don't own their own picks, so cannot tank for picks. That's right. That's why like New Orleans was kind of interesting too, to just kind of go get some of their picks back. But let's do Charlotte now. I didn't mean to do that. Let's go do Charlotte. Somebody mentioned LaMelo, but why would the Bucks do that and include LaMelo? Actually, let's take a break from Giannis. Where do you want to send LaMelo? Because it has been rumored that LaMelo is going to be on his way out. Who do you think? Oh, actually, there was one more I wanted to do. There's one more trade package I wanted to do, although I don't think it's going to happen. Let's do Hawks and Bucks. Because I do think, right, if you send Milwaukee, I did it again, 25-26. But yeah, start while I do Hawks and Bucks, please start thinking about where you would like to see LaMelo, because I don't even know where that makes sense. But let's do this one, because I was kind of interested in sending Giannis to Atlanta. So send him to A-Town down. All right, I think, we can't. Oh, he's got a trade restriction till July. But if you threw Jalen Johnson in there, so that's $30 million, right? Jalen Johnson, you could throw in like, do they have any expiring deals? Jalen Johnson and maybe Reece Shea. That's $43 million, and then you got to throw in some other crap, and then maybe some draft picks. I just like the idea of putting Giannis with Trae Young. I was intrigued by that. Intrigued by that. Exactly. Oh, this is the Scotty Barnes stuff. He's already an all-star. Yeah, but he's not. He's going to go from the same situation in Toronto to Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't even know why Milwaukee would want to do that. I mean, yes, I guess they can justify, hey, we got a real piece back. And I'm not even saying Giannis won't go to Toronto. It does seem like there's some real smoke around that. So I do think that is a possibility that he goes to Toronto. Toronto. But I just don't know. Oh man, the Zion stuff is a little disturbing. I don't know how many people saw that over the weekend, but a lawsuit dropped, I think, over the weekend with some pretty disturbing allegations about a previous relationship Zion had when he was in college, and just a couple of like really disturbing allegations. Now, Zion's team has since, and I honestly don't want anybody's take on this in the chat. So if you feel like I don't need it, I'm not interested in it. But Zion's team came out and responded, denying the allegations, called it a money grab. I'm sure it'll play out. I think from a basketball, I mean, one, that stuff's gross. I'm already on the record talking about how Miles Bridges sucks. Kevin Porter Jr. is a piece of shit. Like, I'm on the record of, you guys know how I feel about that stuff. I'm not being like, well, it's just I'm not going to do that. I'll let the court play it out or whatever, but I'm not going to get into that. I will say, though, from a basketball side of things, Zion's contract is not guaranteed. So there is a world where if this, proves to be true, there's a world where the Bucks just cut him. I mean, the Pelicans just cut him and release him. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Could the Bucks perhaps deal Barnes as well to really bottom out? Yeah, I mean, it depends. They'd have to like really find a spot that could get him some juicy picks. It would have to be a team like you. If you're really gonna, you'd have to find a spot. As was mentioned earlier by Regulator, the Bucks don't have their own picks, so you'd almost have to send then Scotty to New Orleans to go get him. So I don't know. But anyways, let's go back to life, back to reality. Do you guys have any little takes on getting LaMelo somewhere else? I don't even know like what would be the right fit for LaMelo. I really don't. And like, I don't know what would they be getting back? Are they getting like win now pieces back? You know, like what about Orlando and Charlotte? Let's see what we can do with that. Like, what if we got LaMelo for Suggs, who says no? You know, I don't think they would do that, but let's look at it. Let's look at it. Suggs is making how much? He's still on his rookie. No, plus 5 years, 150. Did I not do the 25-26 thing again? Am I really that big of a piece of shit? Let's try that again. So let's do Orlando and Charlotte. Because I would like to get Orlando a guard. I would like Orlando to figure some stuff out here. So we throw LaMelo, only, I would say only 37, but when you look at some of the other people that are making big time money, that's not the worst thing in the world. All right, Suggs is 35. This trade currently fails because the Magic have exceeded the allowable income by $3 million. So let's say you probably don't want to give up Tristan da Silva, do you? What if let's see what else is on the Charlotte roster. Because what about a Kogi's got an expiring contract? Let's send a Kogi over there. And then, so now they're 10-7 here we got to come up with. And now I think we could probably move somebody like Wendell Carter Jr. LaMelo for Suggs and WC. LaMelo and a Kogi for Suggs and WCJ. What about that, huh? What about that? And then your starting five for the Orlando Magic are LaMelo Ball, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero. You still get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope there. And then either Mo Wagner, who's back from injury, you probably don't want to start him at the 5, or Goga Bitadze. Hornets, on the other hand, get Jalen. You think the Hornets say no, regulator? Are you guys still that high on LaMelo? I actually thought Orlando would be the team that would say no to this because they're like, we value Suggs more than LaMelo. That's interesting. I thought Orlando people would say, maybe both teams say no. Maybe they both say no. Josh Giddey to Orlando. Yeah, so Josh Giddey's a restricted free agent. I'm curious if Orlando throws some money at him. If they throw some money at him. I also saw something on Dunkcent. This, by the way, for the rest of the show, this is what we're doing. So if you want to see some teams make some moves, hit me up. The other thing that I saw here were the Pelicans, and I don't know how Denver could do this, but it was the Pelicans are the favorites to land Trey Murphy if Trey Murphy is moved, which I don't think he would be moved, but I thought that was interesting. So he can't get traded till July 1st, which sucks. Can't we just all right, let's do restrictions off. All right, so let's send Trey Murphy over to Denver. And then so Denver would need to send $25 million over there. Would they take on like Mike? So if they would need $13 more million from New Orleans. Do they have let's see, Kelly Olynyk's expiring? Oh, that's over by 100,000? No, that's over by 112,000. Wow. So it has to be exact, huh? What about Antonio Reeves? It's just like, now it's like, wow, that sucks about the second apron, man. Because that would have been kind of fun. Now they would absolutely have to attach some picks to it as well. They would have to attach some picks to it as well. But let's go back to Denver, see if we can move. So it's 25 million, and you need to make. You'd probably have to like put Aaron Gordon in it. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how you make that happen. Yeah, I don't know. That's a crazy one. I don't really think that Trey Murphy, by the way, is. I think I feel like Herb Jones is probably the one that's more likely to move. Let's see. Can we get him to Herb? Can we get Herb Jones over there? How much is Herbie making? Herbie's only making 13. So let's try, or 13.9. Let's see. What if they included Herb Jones? Now, I don't see, this is why it's going to be so tricky as we move it into the postseason. I mean, the off season. There's just no real like easy moves with some of these rosters. We were looking at Philly's roster recently too, where it was Like they've got a couple of big contracts, and then it's like 50 million, 50 million, 35 million, and then the next one is like 10 million. It's hard to make these work. All right, regulators saying Hornets receive Herb in the 7th pick. Pelicans receive Mark Williams in the 4th pick and the 34th pick. That's kind of interesting. Regulator also said Hornets receive Herb Jones in the 7th pick. Pelicans receive Mark Williams. Oh, that's the same thing. You put it twice. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, with the Sixers we were talking about, they have the 3rd overall pick. And we're talking about some of the deals where like maybe Pelicans get the 3rd pick and the Sixers get the 7th pick and Herb Jones, or same thing with the Brooklyn Nets. And then it's Cam Johnson instead of Herb Jones. But I don't know. I don't really know what ends up happening here. Again, it's just like, that's why it's so confusing to hear the offseason like chaos takes from ESPN, because I just am like, where are these moves happening? Like, how are they happening? You know, any other spots you want to mess around with? Any teams you guys want to find some moves to make here? The other thing I was going to do is just mess around with So Rare a little bit. We also were doing a Splash Sports contest where I think we're going to have a guaranteed contest, BT Dubs, for, I'll share screen. Right now, the only one listed is the $25 one that we're doing here, $25 3-entry max. We're going to have a $5 one, but I'm waiting for Splash Sports to post it, because we're going to do a guaranteed contest that's like sponsored by Splash Sports. So we'll have another one for game 1 of the NBA Finals, which will be fun. I know our guy Stubbs has been cleaning up in the Splash Sports streets, if you haven't been paying attention. Absolutely cooking, our guy Stubbs. Will anyone make a trade with the Lakers now? No, are you talking about regulator? Are you talking because how butthurt the Hornets are about Mark Williams? No, I think the Lakers will still make a trade. I think people are interested in Austin Reeves, man. I do think people will be interested in Austin Reeves. And it's probably going to be for a big man. Let's say, there we go. Thank you for doing that. Let's find a Lakers deal. Let's find a Lakers deal so that I can put them in the SEO, and then everybody be like, oh, hell yeah, Lakers, brother. How about the Lakers and the Utah Jazz? Because we can trade a white for a white. What if we send Austin Reeves? He's only making to Utah. Utah sends over, wow, Walker Kessler, huh? So Lakers, the Jazz would be what? $4 million over the. How about that? There we go. Svi and Walker Kessler for Austin Reeves. That's not bad, right? I don't know why Utah would do that, I guess. I think Walker, you probably have to attach some more stuff. You probably would have to attach some more stuff, right? Because is Utah just like, oh, thank God we have Austin Reeves? That's kind of fun, though, isn't it? I don't think they would do that. Lakers would do it. They'd have to include a pick, I think. They would have to include some picks. Let's see what they've got for picks. So they've got 2025. No, that's 2025. What if you just threw in a first-round pick? So 2031st and Austin Reeves for Svi and Walker Kessler. Who says no to that? Who says no to that? Because I think Utah would be interested in a future first, right? And you're getting Austin Reeves, who's still a young talent that you could either move off of that people would want, or you just keep him a part of his rebuild. I know you already have a ton of guards, so maybe that's the case against it, right? But, like, do you really have any guards? You have Keontae, Isaiah Collier. One of Colin Sexton needs to go somewhere, and Jordan Clarkson probably needs to go somewhere too. I don't know. Reported that Ainge wants 2 firsts for Walker. All right. You just throw in another pick as a swap. 2031. I wonder if that's too expensive for the Lakers, but I don't know. It depends how badly you need a big, right? There you go. Tesla's back. What other centers could we send to LA? What other centers are out there? I mean, Mark Williams really did make so much sense, but he's got to stay on the court. He's got to stay on the court. I would love to see Mark Williams in a real environment, though, because we know that Charlotte is not real. So does Austin count as a first? I don't think he counts as a first, no. I mean, he maybe, but like, I think it's weird because if Austin goes to a competitive environment, it makes more sense, right? Like he has more value on a competitive team because we know he's a great shooter. We know he can do a little bit of playmaking, offensive facilitation, right? But if he goes to a bad team, it's not like you want to build around Austin Reeves, right? So that's why I don't know if it counts as a first. Reeves for Gafford. Yeah, I mean, that like weirdly makes sense. I don't see that happening. Claxton to the Lakers. The only problem with that is the money that Claxton is making because Claxton sneaky makes a lot of money, which is why like Brooklyn is fun for 3-team deals, but I like those straight up 2-mans are tough. Let's do Lakers and Brooklyn here for 25-26 because I think Claxton makes like 27 million. 25. All right. So we send him to the Lakers and we send Austin Reeves over, right? But you're going to have to find. Wait, can you use it as a trade? No. That doesn't. What is. So why does this fail? If the Lakers would be 11 million over. All right. So let's not do the trade exception. Let's do that. And then you need to find 11 more million. I mean, you have Vanderbilt or Gabe Vincent's expiring, right? So if you send Gabe. All right, Gabe and Austin Reeves for Claxton, and you're probably going to have to include a pick. Because they're just like, why am I taking on Gabe? Like, I don't know. Time Lord would be a really good fit on the Lakers. Yeah, but Clipper Nation, I mean, I don't disagree with you here. It's just like, I mean, if you think Mark Williams can't pass a physical, get ready to learn Robert Williams. Like, we can look at it. We can definitely look at Portland because I do think Portland low-key is going to be kind of a fun team to monitor. Let's go to the Lakers and the Portland Trailblazers. Let's pull it up. Because like Time Lord, man, he's barely playing. What about Ayton? Hold on. Listen, I don't think they should really do this, but let's just look at it for a second. So if you send Austin Reeves to Portland, how much you need to make up 21 million more, right? Austin Reeves to Portland. And you need to make up 21 million more. If you sent over Vando and Gabe, because now you are 10 million over, or like Maxi Kleber as an expiring contract if you want to keep Gabe, and then wow, what about that? Ayton for Reeves, Vanderbilt, and Kleber, and then maybe throw in like a swap. Dude, we're cooking. We're cooking here. Let's get dominating to Los Angeles. All right, hold on. Let's go back to Time Lord. Let's do what the people actually wanted and not the drugs I was taking there. All right, let's remove that one. Let's remove all of these except for Reeves because I do think Reeves is going to be included in whatever happens here. All right, so Time Lord is making 13 million. Honestly, is that just a 1-for-1 there? Time Lord for Austin Reeves. Honestly, Clipper Nation, maybe you were cooking in there. Ayton would be hilarious. I don't know but truly, man, if the Lakers aren't agreeing to pick with, if the Lakers aren't agreeing to a deal for Mark Williams, I can't see them taking Time Lord. You know, I think that's the right idea, though. That is the right type of player where you just need, and like Daniel Gafford, obviously. I mean, the Gafford for Reeves thing actually does make sense. I mean, it would be so hilarious because they should have gotten Reeves anyways, but that is what Dallas needs to win now, and that is what the Lakers need. So that would be like fucking so funny. Lakers and Dallas here. All right, so let's do this. Let's send them. Daniel Gafford's 14 million expiring. Will this just like straight up work? This just straight up works. You don't even need to include anything else. Okay, real talk. Who actually says no? Here? Austin Reeves and Daniel Gafford. No, come on, man. I'm true. I'm a Portland believer. I think the Blazers have a real fan base. Come on. Who says no to this though? Reeves, Gafford. That really would that is exactly what Dallas needs right now. They need somebody to ball handle, and they know And I honestly think Reeves could play next to Kyrie because they have enough defense behind it. And you have too many centers as is. That's so funny, man. Dallas just getting fleeced left and right. Simons to the Mavs. So the only thing that because I was trying to think of where to get Simons to go, because I do think we should free Simons, man. But if we do Dallas and Portland, I just don't know what you guys have to offer for Portland that they'd want for Simons, right? So Simons makes what? 27 million. It's not like they need more bigs. Like Dallas doesn't want your Gaffords, doesn't want your right, because they already have they have Klingon, they still have Time Lord, and they have Ayton there. So, like, I don't know what you could offer back that they'd be excited about. Maybe somebody like you could get PJ Washington's expiring contract. You'd still need to make up 13 more million, though, right? So, from Dallas, so you could, I mean, you could do PJ and Gafford, and then you hope they like flip Gafford. Does that work? And then maybe you have to throw in like a pick swap or something. But that would be Gafford and PJ for Anthony Simons. Ooh, Reeves and Connect for Jared Allen. Okay, son. All right, Matty Harrison, we're out here. We're out here doing the Lord's work. We're getting Jared Allen, the lights too bright, to Tinseltown. Let's see if we can do it. I mean, I'm sure you already did it, but let's just pull it up on the screen so it seems like I did some stuff. All right, so we're sending Jared Allen, the big man who's making $20 million, for Austin Reeves. Although, you know why they're not doing this? Hold on, Maddie. You know why they're not doing this? What are they going? They're going to play Garland and Donovan Mitchell and Austin Reeves together? No. All right. On paper, that sounded good, Matt. It did. That sounded good. We can't do that. We can't do that. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. All right, let's see. Wait, I was going to do something else too. I had another one. I had another one that I was going to cook with. Oh, fuck. I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, I want to can we get Simons to Orlando? Let's get Simons to Orlando. Because I do like that fit. I wanted that to happen at the trade deadline. I don't know. I think Portland would most likely just want assets back, right? So we send Simons. It's $25 million to Orlando. Do we have any like expiring contracts we could get rid of? They probably want to keep KCP. Man, Cole Anthony is just $13 million a year for Cole Anthony is tough. I know we said we don't want centers over there, right? But maybe you throw in an Anthony Black. An Anthony Black here. Magic, that fails because you need 10 more million. Anthony Black, and then I keep getting rid of Wendell Carter Jr. I don't know why. Let's see. Anthony Black. Mac McClung? No, Anthony Black. Am I in the right year? Hold on. Am I in the right year? That's crazy. Paolo's only making that much money. Hold on. I don't think Orlando needs to make some moves right now. If that's really what they're paying their fellas. Yeah, okay. I was in the wrong year. This makes more sense. All right, here we go. Portland, Anthony Simons still making 27, but it's an expiring contract. Orlando here, you could move. I still like Anthony Black. I think that's a good decision for them. We still need to come up with how much more money? $19 million. I mean, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope kind of makes sense. I mean, that works. And then you get Anthony Black. Is KCP expiring too? No, it's got 1 year and it's a player option. So maybe you have to throw something else in there. Yeah, I don't know. Those are kind of fun, though. Those are kind of fun. All right, dudes. I think we're going to call it there. I was going to try to go like an hour and a half today, but we did like 40 minutes of trade talks. So I think we will call it there unless you guys have anything else. We're going to be back. So this is the schedule. Just a reminder. This is the schedule for the rest of the week, okay? We have no NBA bit tomorrow. We do have Hoop Sense today at 3 p.m. on the Count the Dings YouTube channel, so go check that out. I'll have an Elite Fantasy Sports video dropping both Tuesday and Wednesday. Hopefully the 89 Cavs are back on Wednesday. We'll have the NBA bid on Thursday, and then probably Friday to react to Game 1 of the NBA Finals. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Go check out the Celtics Daily. If this is your first time here, hey, thanks for hanging out. Hope you subscribe. Go watch some No, actually, I don't think we have No Dunks. They're not back until Tuesday. Go check out the podcast, do all that stuff. Appreciate you guys hanging out. I might go get a run in. That might be my little day today. But I hope you guys have a good start to the week. We are out. If I can find the video, yeah, we're out.